solution to this self-publishing? You publish, fine, but nobody wants to read, nobody wants to buy. People are so more into Western books and memoirs and educational books. But in the fictional space, self-publishing fictional space in Kenya, fine, you have 11 books, but what's the way forward to get readers who would actually buy instead of launching maybe 10, 20 copies, and that's just it?
Yes, that's an issue that we have also been talking right now outside there with Vera Mocho, who works for the Writers Guild. And we feel that we as self-published writers, we are not doing enough when it comes to marketing. We have to market ourselves more. But I myself alone will not be able to, because it is very involving. If you try to Google the intricacies behind bestsellers, for your book to, in America, for your book to be #1 New York Times bestseller, an investigative piece was done by some journalists, and they found that writers, even publishers, spent millions of dollars to get that book to #1. Because once you see it has debuted at #1, people are going to buy it. They are going to trust this is a very good book. So as self-publishing writers, we need to market ourselves more, but we'll not market alone. We need to come together. And that's why I've been able to meet more readers through the Writers Guild of Kenya. Because wherever they organize their events, being a member, and not just being a member who is not paying, you have to pay also membership. I get the opportunity to meet other readers free of charge. Wherever they organize their events, I meet readers there, and that's why I've been able to sell those number of copies I've sold. However, if you approach bookshops, they will not accept your book. Reason being, they want a book that is going to sell, not a book that is going to rot in the shelf. So in that case, either you make sure you tell people, they go to that bookshop, ask for your book, and then the bookshop in turn will look for you, telling you, we are getting calls about your book, can you bring copies? That is the only way you can get access, like, to this big bookshop like Textbook Center and like Prestige. And if you get these other not well-known bookshops, they will not display your books like this. The way here they are displayed. They put your book behind the shelves. So any random reader or buyer who is walking around, they will not see your book. In the end, no one will ever know you. But it is good to look for free marketing and book promotion channels through those avenues I've suggested.
Thank you. First of all, Mr. Vincent, I'd like to thank you for your singular achievement of publishing at least 11 books. It's no mean feat, given the environment in which you're operating. And the second thing that I also find to be admirable is the fact that you've taken not only a step, but a giant step when it comes to the issue of self-publishing. Because for those aspiring writers, even the ones who are here, I think encounters with the publishers have not been the very best of experiences. Let me just try to be polite and not describe them several times, but I think you get the idea.
Yes.
So, for those 2 points, first of all, I think I'd like to congratulate you. Now, my question is this: I have just 2 questions for you. One, what is your take on authorship in Swahili? You know, everyone seems to run to the English language when it comes to writing, because maybe we find the English a little bit easier to digest than Swahili. But don't forget, right across our neighbors, maybe in Tanzania, we can look at them as a potential market, isn't it? If we maybe lay emphasis on translation of already produced works, like yours, I tend to imagine if you can translate your books, your 11 books into Swahili, and try at least to reach out to our neighbors in Tanzania, I think that is an alternative market. And 2, the issue of self-publishing. What do you think about, what advice would you give when it comes to the issue of all potential and actual writers coming together and at least challenging these established publishers? Instead of crying that these publishers, oh, they reject our books because of this and that, why can't we have, in your opinion, what do you think we should do as an alternative? You said Lone Ranger tactics do not work. You've had challenges you yourself as an individual, but what would you say, what would you advise when it comes to now a collective approach? You see, there is, as they say, there is strength in numbers. So in your opinion, how would you like to take it? Sorry for the length of my question. I'm not very good with short-term explanation.
Thank you. I'll start with the first one about Swahili. Swahili writers are very few in the country at the moment. Mystery Publishers is a member of the Kenya Publishers Association. And whenever we go to the meetings, we also have our workshop group where as publishers we discuss the issues affecting us, is the issue of Kiswahili. And this has come because of the polarization of the language. And most people are not into Kiswahili because they have started to say it is difficult. They opt to mixing it with English and it becomes shame. So in that case, at the moment, it is an approach that is the association, Publisher Association, we are trying to come up with a way on how to create awareness, try to convince writers to also to focus on Kiswahili. Because I even believe in the last award, very few manuscripts in Kiswahili were submitted. And that has come because people are not interested in the language. After high school, no one wants to continue with it. It's true, like Tanzania, we have a ready market, but we have to address it back home first, such that we have that readership at home before we take it outside. And two, about the self-publishing. Initially, the mystery publishers started as a group of writers with the aim of, I am a fiction writer, is a poetry writer, is non-fiction. Everyone is coming with their skills. In there could be a web designer, there could be a graphic designer, and there could be also an editor. If we share our works amongst ourselves and try to assist each other, the cost of publishing will be less, and we will only be left with the printing if we really do our due diligence. However, one thing I've realized is we writers are very selfish people. We don't want to help each other. I believe I'm the best writer to have been born in Kenya. You believe the same, and he believes the same. So in the end, you don't want to read my work. I don't want to read your work and improve it. So that is what killed that first idea, whereby when they saw the call for submission, it was my idea, we come together and assist each other that way. They felt this is a publishing company which is going to pay them. So immediately started asking me for money, money which I did not have. So in the end, we had to let them go. Whoever wanted to go, they left. And now I was left with the serious editors whom today we are still working together. One of them, she's here, Vera Omocha. We are still working together. She's also working in the Writers Guild. And the first thing is not the money. The motivation she has is not money. Is to improve this manuscript, is to help this writer. Even though in the end, we have to pay our bills. You realize writing will not be the first job. But I believe that is the best way we can come together as writers and assist each other. Currently, there is a group of 12 writers have joined. We have contributed 10,000 each. We have paid an editor. We have paid a graphic designer. And the book will be printed over 1,000 copies very soon. It's a collection of short stories. So in that way, I am going to have a book whereby I've spent only 10,000, as opposed to when I'm publishing alone. Like this book alone, over the years, it has taken me like 50,000 for editing only. So if we are together, this book would have been cheaper. But most writers, we are selfish, we don't want to assist each other. Not knowing that your success will be mine. You cannot take my style and I'll never take yours. You can have better success in book sales than me. And I should be content with what I have. So for self-publishing, I would advise writers to come together. As an individual, go for quality. Hire a professional editor, hire a professional cover designer, and graphic designer for interior layout. Otherwise, your books will be competing with very many traditional and well-quality books. And if someone just opens your book and they see this book is screaming self-published, they put it aside. I have several of them, self-published writers. They have brought to me to have a look at it and give them opinion. But if you look at the design, already it puts you off, you put it aside. So if you want to go alone, make sure you engage professionals for that. Editing, cover design, and interior layout and design. Don't be in a hurry to see your book published or to see your name on the cover of a book, because that hurry is one which brings about producing low quality books.
Yes. Two questions.
Yes.
We have a thing in this city where everybody thinks everything is in Nairobi.
Yes.
Have you tried going out of Nairobi to other parts of the country like Kisumu, Mombasa, and how successful has that been? My second question is about publishing. Have you considered or have you tried and talked to publishers across the continent? Because I know right now publishers are always looking for manuscripts. They're always doing call-outs for manuscripts across the continent, and they're looking for writers as well. So has there been any interest in following that route?
Yes, thank you for the question. For the first question about everyone thinks everything is concentrated in Nairobi. Sadly, it's true, but my idea started in Nakuru. That's where we started Mystery Publishers. However, in Nakuru you find that there are not many people around there, but still the address has remained to be Nakuru, hoping that in the end we'll go back to Nakuru. But the city has got so many opportunities. This one you'll not see it in Nakuru. You'll not see a poetry night in Nakuru unless it has been organized by people in Nairobi and they are taking it to Nakuru or to other parts. But it's true, we are still considering those. I have gone to Kakamega, but to get the forum also is quite a challenge. You go to an event you have organized with Masinde Muliro, only 2-3 people come. Even though we need consistency, that trekking and traveling to those areas, it becomes also a challenge. So in the meantime, we come back to Nairobi. We stay here, meet the Writers Guild, but it's good that also our writers have joined the Writers Guild. So during the time Writers Guild is having events in Kisumu and other parts of the country, we go together. Yes.
Maybe you can mention of the experience of Nanyuki, one we had in Nanyuki.
Oh yes, that one of Nanyuki, all our readers went there, we took their books, and in the end, even though we discounted our books very much so that we can also attract them, we had writers who received calls from readers now from Nanyuki, being asked, can we do this, can we get this book, where is your book? And also as a guild also, they received other people from Nanyuki and that region requesting to be mentored, even others living here in Nairobi, but they are their home country. Their country is in Laikipia. Yes. The second one, it's like forgotten.
African publishers.
Oh yes, about African publishers, it's only one we have at the moment, African Development Trust. But we wanted, they are holding this annual competition and award for writers. Once the award has been given, they give us the manuscripts to publish traditionally now and we market them. And when we talked about them receiving a part of our manuscripts, they also said there is that plan of welcoming publishers like us to submit their manuscript with them, but it's still in the process. We have approached another one from South Africa. It's called Poetry Publication. However, for that, it is the same idea we have with the mystery publishers, but she doesn't want to expand the market outside of South Africa. So we are still trying. However, as late of last year, we joined the African Books Development, the African Books Collective. It distributes all African books and publishers. Most of them, including our Kenyan publishers, are members there. So they will be printing the books, distributing them in UK, Canada, apart from Africa. They want to expose that outside Africa. But for Africa, we are allowed to sell books. So that is the steps we have made so far.
Yes. Vincent, congrats very much on the 11 books.
Thank you.
Yes. In a way, I'm a bit of an antithesis for self-publishing because, I've also written 11 books, but, they're with 8 different publishers, just mainstream. And the first one, of course, I also self-published what you are a literary gangster for the simple reason that nobody knew me. They didn't know Tony Mochama, and they were not interested in that type of poetry. So that was the first one. So my first question is this. Have you ever tried to consolidate? And it took me 100,000 shillings back in 2007. I was saving money monthly. And I got, how it works. But have you ever tried to consolidate on your first success at self-publishing? Yeah, because in my experience, that's exactly what I did. Once I had that book out and, we speak about it a bit, the next one, even if it's self-published, you said that publishers won't like your genre, but I find that to be a bit untrue. Yeah? Whether it's Story Moja or anybody, there's no genre that people discriminate against. So, one, I'm curious, why have you never tried to consolidate on your success in self-publishing towards more traditional publishers? Because, that will automatically take away the stigma of that perhaps you're being self-indulgent. Number two, you've mentioned that you yourself are already rejecting some other writers. Yeah? You have become the publisher who now turns away people. You have started 2020 by turning away 2 books. Yeah? By the end of this year, you'll have turned away 24. January is a slow month. Possibly you'll have rejected 50 books. So don't you think that's the same sort of cyclical logic, that traditional publishers have? They just say, they don't go through the rigors of the gatekeepers. And these days there's technology to enable you to sort of evade that process. So don't you think you're also encouraging this sort of complacency of let me have my name on the cover and say I'm a writer and sit at the French Cultural Center, but without having to go through, the blood, sweat, tears, and the battlefield of, convincing the traditional powerhouses and campuses. But others, having said that, I really admire and appreciate your discipline, because it's not easy, I know. Even whether you're writing great stuff or rubbish, but even the discipline of finishing anything. There are a lot of writers with books under glad you're not one of those.
Okay, I'll start with the first one. Yes, I've tried to consolidate, and I've several approached the traditional publishers until I gave up. I've submitted to Storymoja. One of the editors of Storymoja is the one who edited this book, this one. Even though she was doing it freelance, it cost me 25,000 to do that. When they made the call for Drumbeat's Romance, I submitted, and that was one of the manuscripts that they rejected, and talked to the editor, and they told me, yes, your manuscript was good, but the kind of language that you used, we were not into it. And you know how Drumbeat's Romance is. It's like I went almost full blown about language, not caring whether it will be read by kids or not, because the target audience, these are people who are mature. So they say, no, that language, you have to tone it down. The same manuscript, I talked to John Mwazemba when he was at Phoenix. They received the manuscript. Till now, they have not given me feedback. So the aspect of waiting for a decade to get a response, which might never come, is what made me now to say, it's not because of the feedback they gave me, but made me to decide to go self-publishing and not consolidate that success and approach traditional publishers with it. If I really work hard to ensuring quality, reading widely, and making sure I can compete with them, in the end, the stigma of self-publishing will go away, and they will realize we can eat at the same table. At the moment, I'm not even submitting for the KICD books, even though I have a children's book which is there, because of backroom intricacies. So in that case, about my consolidation, I did that, and I decided to let it go. About this other one, the cycle of rejecting manuscripts. When I was studying my creative writing course, it was online, but I had one-on-one touch with the tutor from the UK. She used to communicate with me every other day. She guided me well, and she would tell me, do not rush, do your market research. And one of the aspects of their training is that I will not get a certificate unless I've been published independently. And I sent them the photo or scanned documents showing I've been published independent, or I sent them the links. And that's how I graduated. I submitted my articles to the Daily Nation, the Standard, the Nairobian. That is the only publication I used to receive without having talked to the publisher. And when I submitted them to the school, I was given my certificate. And they insisted on market research, discipline, ensuring quality, for factual checks of your articles. So what is lacking in our today's writers is that dedication to do research, that dedication to make sure to self-edit, to remove all the errors that they can see, because some other eyes will see those errors. So in the end, it becomes very frustrating to see a manuscript that, when the first line, it has got a grammatical error. The second line, the same. So you will keep on rejecting that manuscript. However, the difference where we come in with that other mainstream publishers is we evaluate that manuscript. Despite having the errors, we read it bit by bit, write a comprehensive report to the writer, and tell them, this is where your manuscript is weak, this is where it is strong, improve on this one. So the two manuscripts for this year we have rejected is because we wrote a report to the writer, highlighting these are the areas you should focus on and improve the manuscript. But the writer just sent another manuscript and said, forget about that other one, I think this one I wrote better, you can have this one. Instead of first looking at the report, improving on it, and then asking, is this better than what I submitted? So that is where our difference comes in with the others. Because for the manuscript I've submitted to all of those mainstream, I never got a report. I'm still waiting to get one for the one I submitted in 2013. It has not been rejected, but I'm still waiting. So in the end, like in 2024, I will publish that manuscript now after 10 years. Yeah.
So my question is, it's a very unpopular opinion, but do you think, I need your opinion on the same, do you think, someone talked about having your book written in a different language, like probably Swahili. Do you think it alters with the original meaning of the previous manuscript that you'd written?
I don't think it alters the original meaning because it's just translating to a different language. However, some words might be used which might alter that. What has happened to like translations of the Bible? What was originally in Hebrew Bible is not what we have today in English, because some words will not. You'll try to look for a particular English word which fits the original meaning. You don't get it, and get one which is closer. So the same thing to translated words, it happens that way. You try to find that language word which will fit to a particular word that you used, but you don't get it. So you use which is closer, and that is how the meaning will be lost. But I don't think it will be an issue.
Thank you so much for your time and also presenting to us your work. I really do appreciate myself. I'm not a writer, but I often read books when I get time. I have a few questions for you, or maybe something you could highlight a bit. What do you think is the role or the challenge therein, especially with regards to book clubs, and how that helps probably writers to access market or meet book enthusiasts? And in the same context, what do you think is lacking in the current book clubs association or sort of platforms, these rare avenues, from a writer's perspective? Like, mostly they're organized by book centers, and maybe you can speak from that angle as a writer, an independent writer, because in your discussion this afternoon you seem to be having a bit of an independent sort of view on these things, even though you're also a writer in the whole industry. The other one is, maybe could you also comment on the whole aspect around the online platform, or so to speak, the digital platform, in terms of market access, and also, mitigating around the constraints around the bookstores that you have talked about, those are access and all those things. Because one time I attended last year a play on a famous book by one of the drama societies around, and the book is around 70 to 100 pages, something you can download and even read within 2 or 3 hours. But I searched for that book, I could not find it. For some reasons, maybe I don't know, maybe these platforms are not here or whatever. Maybe you could comment around that. And the aspect of strategically voicing some of these books with people who have a very big voice out there for the same strategic reasons that of market access, people associating with that personality, so that you can use that as a backbone to preach or to take your content to that audience that you so wish to reach. So maybe you could comment around that aspect and how writers can strategically use these platforms, and what could be the challenges anyway. So the final question is, as I've said, I'm not a writer, but what does it involve for a publisher to rewrite and edit the work presented to them? Like, what does it really involve to some extent? And what are these shortcomings that comes from a writer, in the sense that a publisher has to sort of put the writer to task to an extent that you will even want to doubt what the publisher is, first of all, being presented to work on. Thank you.
So if I start with the first one, which is book clubs. Book clubs, you'll meet there to read a particular book that you have agreed on. But the challenge with the book clubs is you are coming together different people. Perhaps you have your reading target for this year. Someone else has got their reading target. So when you come together in that book club, you have to agree on reading one book, a particular book, so that you discuss it. However, there is the aspect of this book is going to interfere with my target, the persona that I've made. You'll find also people who love non-fiction, and I'm a fiction reader. What am I going to do about that? And if you are not part of the book club, by reading that book, will be seen as you are getting out of the way. So the main challenge of the book club is that one. People coming together who have got different tastes. You cannot just say you are going to have a fiction book club if the readers themselves we have not yet gotten them. So the main challenge, one, whereby sometimes we meet we meet only once in a month, but sometimes we meet one or two or three people. Sometimes I'm alone. Sometimes the chair lady is alone, and then she gives out and she goes away. So also that lack of commitment. And when you go to meet online on WhatsApp, members are not contributing on what is expected. So it is sometimes is lack of that seriousness to be part of that book club. But it is a good avenue if you could have a book club that is well dedicated, because in that, if this were a book club and each and every one of you reads this book, you have a blog, you are going to put that outside there. People are going to see those reviews. It will also help me by coming up with the next cover. I put these reviews have been posted about this book, and a new reader will look at it and say, it has been praised a lot, let me take a chance on it. So book club will help writers in that way. But the challenge is getting a common purpose book club. About market access, and also about book club, it's not also, you cannot only be offline. If you really love reading books, you can be doing it on, there is this website called Goodreads. You can be reading your books, posting the reviews there. It also exposes it exposes the books. Every other time, I don't get paid by posting a review, but every time I read a book, I post a review on Goodreads and share it on Facebook. I've had people asking, where can I get this book? So 2 or 3 people will see those reviews and say, I need to get this book. About market access, our challenge is also based on the distribution channels. At the moment, the mainstream distribution channels is the bookstores, brick and mortar bookstores. People generally, statistically, the way I've seen is in Kenya, people are not into online shopping. A small percentage they are, yes, but most people are not trusting online shopping because of the fraud that they have faced, theft. And the other day I saw in the news that there is this website that has been defrauding people through online shopping. You send money, they never send you the item. So having that investigative piece being watched by everyone in the country, you'll not convince someone else to go and buy their book, your book online. Mystery publishers, you have 2 bookstores, one for paperbacks and another one for ebooks. Even ebooks which are free, because all my books which are 5 years old, I give for free as ebook. Once they get 15 years, I will be printing and giving out free. So during that time, we put them books for free. No one goes and purchases them. So we wonder, why are they not even buying? And we have shared that. So market access is a challenge. I know also credibility works. Someone like Rugano Books, which was started by Magunga, he has a history of winning the Bloggers Association awards. So that is person, as a person, if he starts a bookstore, they can say this guy is credible, and you'll see very many writers submitting their books with him, so that he can sell for them. And I believe he has been having success. So for newcomers, it is a challenge of which we are also trying to see how to overcome it.
Okay, mine is more of an observation than a question. I'm speaking as a librarian, and our most borrowed books are actually series,
Yes.
or sequels, and they will always, especially new readers who have just started maybe learning the language, and once they get books that is volume 1, volume 2, is a continuation of a series, is this character. You as a writer, have you ever thought of writing a series of books, be it simple stories or a continuation of books?
Yes, I've done that. I've already written 3 series. Flashes of Voice, Volume 1, 2, and 3. They are just collection of short flash fiction stories. This is a genre that is not popular mostly in Kenya, but I'm getting writers who are also writing the same. We were trying to have it introduced to schools, because if you read here, we had submitted to the Kenya National Examination Council. They said it's good. It can be taken to schools, however, the language that we are using. So what we are doing at the moment is we are removing all the stories which can be taken to schools, compile them in one book and take them. So yes, the series is there. I've written this one, that is volume 2 and volume 3. Even this one, this is a series, it's a trilogy. This is the first one, Twisted Times. This one, it's also a trilogy. I've already finished the sequel to this one. It will be out by the end of the year. So yes, I've considered that.
Mine is another